Hi, I'm Caitlin, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Gen Z Initiative, and today I brought with me.
Hi, I'm Ratnia, and I'm part of the Gen Z Initiative.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm also part of the Gen Z Initiative.
I'm Brendan. I'm also a member of Gen Z Initiative.
I'm Allison, and I'm also part of the Gen Z Initiative.
Hi guys, I'm Tiffany. I'm part of CYCA.
Hi guys, I'm Nancy, and I'm also part of CYCA.
Hi guys, I'm Tyler. I'm also part of CYCA.
Hi, I'm Savannah. I'm also part of CYCA.
Okay, so just to start off, one of the main goals of our initiative is to basically inform people our age about issues that are prevalent in today's world. So can you tell us about maybe the top 3 issues that you guys look into and are advocating for?
Put it into 3, it would be pretty much right now at least, it'd be the California wildfires. It'd be consumerism and carbon emissions. And then the third would probably be the disproportionate effect that climate problems have on minority groups in California.
I think it's really difficult to narrow it down to just 3 issues, but for one, I think one of the most prevalent issues right now, at least, is the California wildfires, which we are talking about in this whole discussion. I feel like it's the one thing that everybody is seeing, on the news, and there's a lot of just stuff going on regarding it. There's even controversy regarding, for example, we had a wildfire happen because of a gender reveal party. So we have I feel like this is a really big issue because California wildfires affect a lot of people, especially disadvantaged communities. People, they don't get as much support as they would have if they live in a more rich community.
Yeah, looking into it, that disparity is really interesting to hear about. Would you like to elaborate on how climate and racial disparities are sort of intertwined?
So there's a lot of different ways that we call it environmental racism. And the term has brought up a lot of controversy, especially on the right wing, because they hear it and they think it's a joke. It's not the environment itself being racist. It's actually the climate, and it's the disproportionate injustice of climate change on minorities. For example, a lot of carbon-emitting factories that pollute nearby areas are placed in predominantly Black neighborhoods or in low-income neighborhoods. You find that people of color ingest more carbon per capita than white people do, and that's because you have people of color who are forced into economically lower neighborhoods. That's where all the factories are. That's where all those carbon emissions are coming from.
I think another example is a lot of landfills and incinerators are located in these disadvantaged communities and predominantly Black communities, and this is really unfair because the people who create the most waste are the wealthier people, but the people affected by the burning toxins of incinerators as well as the landfills are the people who are not creating as much waste.
Yeah, and I think climate change is strictly related to social justice because it is seeing that African American communities are actually 3 times more vulnerable to this issue. For example, let's talk about heat. A lot of those poor income communities don't have good insulation or air conditioning, and it is actually shown that low income communities are usually 5 to 12 degrees higher in heat during the summer times, as they don't have as many parks or trees to get rid of the carbon emission that we produce for them.
It also has to do with natural disaster relief. When you have things we've got the San Andreas fault line, which causes major earthquakes. We've got wildfires basically every year, they're expected. There's a fire season. But our main long-term goal right now is pretty much that. It's making sure that these communities have the resources they need.
You mentioned the whole fires thing, as Caitlin brought up. So your 3 main points I felt were really clear-cut in terms of the 3 main goals, even though you mentioned that it's hard to kind of compress it into 3 main goals. The 3 main goals that you had, they kind of are linked to one another in the way that fires affect climate change and climate change affects those disadvantaged communities. So is there a way that what do the fires kind of show about climate change? Is there a way that us or like the human population in general is affecting the way these fires are kind of like going up in terms of scale and like frequency?
Well, I can't say I'm completely well versed in this, but obviously global warming, just the warming of the planet in general, that is what's causing like our planet to heat up, and obviously that contributes to the intensity of the fires. Not so much the frequency, I believe, because there are a lot of have been a lot of fires for a long time now, but I do think the intensity is a lot higher. I think it's like important for us to address it, and for our organization, like our mission is to educate people, like local disadvantaged communities and local communities in general, on it. But I think another part of what we do is to motivate people to take action.
You've got humans, Californians, people who don't take the earth seriously, like the gender reveal party that burned, I don't even know the number offhand of acres that it burned, but I know it was a lot. That was just a blatant disregard for nature, and it was disrespectful. And I think that human disrespect is a big cause of fires in general. It's flicking your cigarette butt out the window into a bunch of brush that you probably didn't even realize was there, and now you've got a forest fire. California didn't quite realize how hot the planet was getting. We set record-breaking heat levels this year. It was the highest recorded temperature ever, and it was in, I want to say, Death Valley in California. So I think, we weren't prepared for that, and we weren't prepared for record-breaking temperatures, and we weren't prepared for record-breaking fires.
Yeah, I totally agree with Tyler, because I think wildfires like don't simply just affect us humans and our properties, but it can also like permanently change the landscape of like the areas around us. For example, like the combination of fires and like drier conditions in general can like cause grasslands and forests to become desert lands, and it can like harm animal habitats, and this can like permanently affect the biodiversity of our planet.
So what like measures are you taking to improve like the response to these wildfires?
Mostly like the reason for global warming is because of like greenhouse gas emissions. So like, for example, carbon dioxide, like we all know since like the 1800s, like the percentage of emissions have went up drastically, and that's obviously because of us humans. So I think some measures we can take is just to like try to reduce our carbon footprint. For example, when we say we recycle, reuse, like if we do that in every aspect of our life, it will actually like make a difference.
Yeah, and jumping off of the idea of spreading awareness, some steps just we could take individually, not just as an organization, but like as individuals everywhere, not just in California and the people who are experiencing wildfires right now, but there are many steps that we can take if it's just switching one tiny habit in our lives. For example, like if we just walk instead of drive, bike instead of drive, shop less, because a lot of waste, we actually waste, we throw away 99% of the stuff we use in 6 months. That is the statistic. So that is a huge part of your carbon footprint. But the difficult part of this whole thing is having a wide range of people do this, having everybody do it, because one person is simply not enough. And we need everybody to do it and everybody to understand, which is what our organization basically does, to make people understand and to make people become aware of this.
That truly is difficult, just finding an effective method of just informing people. I mean, that's something that we're working on too. One of our goals is to connect different people and, like we said earlier, basically just share different ideas so people are educated. And I think you guys have been doing a pretty good job of it. I mean, just looking through your Instagram, there are just so many things I learned in like 5 minutes. I mean, something we noticed was that you guys started like a pen pal and book exchange program. Can you tell us more about that? Because it's really cool what you guys are doing, just like share different stories and all that.
So Nancy and I, we kind of started the idea of the pen pal and the book swap. And basically what it is, it's for youth or anybody in general to get in contact with someone across California or across the US, and to be able to help save the post office by, purchasing a stamp and writing a letter. And the book swap also helps educate others, either fiction or something you like to read, or it can be an environmental book. or something about activism. It's just really open. It's a way to spread the word of who we are and just connect with a lot of other people. We're still kind of in the process of putting everything together. It should be done in the next couple of weeks. I just want enough people so I can have everyone properly matched so it's enjoyable for everyone.
So another thing we noticed on your Instagram page is you guys talked about fast fashion, and can you guys talk more about that and how it relates to the climate?
Okay, so the fast fashion industry is responsible for 10% of the global emissions, global carbon emissions. And that's because it's very cheap for people to buy these clothes, and they're often made like the newest trend. So a lot of people want to go out and they want to buy them. And this causes workers in overseas, because most of the fast fashion industries are, they have factories in China, in India, in Thailand, so a lot of overseas countries, which causes carbon emissions to go up from transporting goods to one place to the other, as well as it contributes to a lot of waste. 10.5 billion tons of clothes are put in the landfill every year, and fast fashion is a huge contributor to that. Also, like, they pollute a lot of the clean water. They're responsible, I think, they're the second biggest clean water polluter in the world. So yeah.
That's sort of insane. Like, we all focus on like reusing and creating waste, and like talking about the impact those factories have on the climate. That's just a whole nother side of it that we don't really get to see.
There's definitely a lot of sides that people don't know about and don't see. And I think fast fashion, a lot of people don't even understand what that means. And generally, what it means when we say that is underpaid workers somewhere overseas making designs that probably have been stolen from another designer, uncredited, and a lot of these designers are people of color as well. The just sheer amount of waste it creates, the whole consumerism culture, it feeds right into that, the fact that we just need to wear something once and then throw it away. And personally, I don't like that. I don't like that our culture is so consumer based. Thrifting is a good solution as long as you are only buying what you need and donating what you no longer need. I think that's a very ethical way to shop.
So going back to the California fires thing, how have they like affected you personally and like in your daily lives?
Like Nancy and I, being lucky enough to be a little bit farther from the wildfires, we live in the Silicon Valley in the Bay Area, so we were able to smell it. It was very strong for a couple days. I was thinking like I think it's maybe like 3 to 4 days, like last month, but I cannot say that they have affected us as much as they have affected the other families that were directly impacted. They have affected me in the way that it allowed me to recognize the effects of global warming, as well as try to create change for others, as well as for my community, that even if it extends farther than just where I'm living.
This may sound very straightforward and very, very simple, but for me, just hearing you say that, I mean, I know that you said that you weren't really personally affected by the wildfires, but then just hearing that you were able to smell it from that far away was really, I mean, it was a couple of seconds ago, but it was really like an eye-opener for me. We're on the complete other side of the United States, so basically all we hear about the wildfires are basically what we hear in the news. Of course, we hear about people losing their homes and stuff, but then like actually putting a face and someone our age, like hearing their own personal experience, like actually said to us, I know it was just a minute ago, but that really like helped me realize how many lives it touches, especially since you said that you were so far.
Yeah,
I don't
and
think there were many places in
sorry.
California that weren't affected. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna build off of Tiffany. And not only can we, although there was like smoke that we can smell, but like around like 20 to 30 minutes away, a lot of highways and roads were actually closed for around 3 weeks because of the fires. Because there's forests near us that are completely burned down, like places that like I personally would go hike at, like it's just gone now. Somewhere that you go so often, and then to see that all the roads are closed, and it's just really like heartbreaking.
Besides the California fires, are there any other like major environmental issues or things or concerns that like people should be more knowledgeable about than they are right now?
What can us, like one person living even on the other side of the country, what can we do to help like mitigate that impact?
I think one thing we haven't really touched on, we briefly touched on, I think Nancy touched on biodiversity and protecting biodiversity, because I believe we've lost almost 10% of the known animal species, and like I think over 20% are at risk of extinction because of the destruction of their natural habitats, either from California wildfires in general, or other natural disasters. So this also introduces some invasive species, and like from deforestation, all of the destruction of their habitats, biodiversity is lost. It is a big issue that we want to solve, but it is something that I think we haven't really discussed as an organization yet, as we've been focusing on spreading awareness on wildfires, environmental racism, and all that. So I think one thing that we could do as like a global like initiative is probably just to first of all, watch our meat intake. That's a big thing. And second of all, just enacting like pushing for better policies on forest management, and like the policies on all of the animals' habitats.
There's a lot of things going on that nobody's talking about right now. I mean, just in 2020, there's been 9 oil spills. There was a derecho that hit Iowa and ravaged over half of all their farmland. And so there's all these things going on that people just don't talk about. Like, sometimes there's an Instagram post, but like there's one, and then the next day it's something new. I think that there's just so many that it gets hard to keep track of, and then people just don't.
What do you think is the reason why people don't really talk about it?
I think it's a mix of 2 things, and it's people not being educated enough and seeing the problem as too big for them to start on. And so when you put those 2 together, it's a catastrophe, because people don't know enough about the problem, and they just see it as, it's like a giant, immeasurable wall, and they don't know how to start breaking it. We need as many people who are willing to, to show up, show out, and really get everybody, educated.
I think that outreach and just getting the information out there is basically the roots of all of our organizations, just trying to raise awareness and just help people understand what's really happening in the world. I think this whole conversation has been really enlightening, and I know people who listen to it will learn a lot too. So just to close this off, thanks again for agreeing to speak with us and meeting with us here today. We definitely learned a lot. Hopefully the people who listen to this will as well. So thank you again.
Yeah, of course. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one left right now. But on behalf of all of us at CYCA, thank you guys for inviting us. It's nice to talk about these things. It's important that, we can explain to whoever as much as possible. So thank you guys for reaching out to us, definitely.
Great. Okay, bye you guys.